Del Rio, Texas. Rob Wade and Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive recorded live Saturday, 23 November 2013. Episode 85, Our Tech Wish List. Well, welcome once again to another exciting episode of Two Guys Who Dive, and I'm your host, Rob Wade, and I appear to be going solo again this week. Not sure what happened. Haven't heard from my cohort, my partner in crime. But let me see if I can brighten things up here. There we go. But hopefully he'll show up. He didn't let me know if he wasn't going to be here, so we'll see what happens. Very interesting weather we're having here in the little old Del Rio area. It is quite nippy outside, and as a matter of fact, according to my my weather app on my Nokia Lumia 1020 phone, it is 37 degrees here in Del Rio. I gotta tell you, I moved to Del Rio to get away from this kind of stuff. I was born in Dayton, Ohio, and lived there till I was 12 years old, and then the rest of the time lived in around the Joplin, Missouri area, which is all well and good. Had a great school experience, high school experience, going to Diamond High School in Diamond R4 in Diamond, Missouri, but just didn't like the weather. And I hear the dogs going off, which hopefully that means that Robert's here. Unfortunately, the weather growing up in Ohio and in Missouri is just too cold for me. In Ohio, and there he is, 5 minutes late. And I know that you weren't riding your bike, so what's the deal with that? So anyway, growing up in Ohio, it'd get cold enough in the wintertime to freeze over the small lakes and ponds there. So we'd go ice skating. But, enough is enough. I was glad we moved to Missouri because it was at least a little bit warmer, but not a lot. I've got dogs showing up here as Scuba Bob gets in place. Let me pick up the dogs here. First up, we have Grayza. And then next, get back there. Come on. Cry havoc and let's slip the dogs. Let's slip the dogs of war. And say hi to everybody. Or not. Okay. Back here. All right. Y'all settle down. So when they sit in the seat here, I end up sitting on the very, very edge of the chair. It wouldn't take much to end up with the chair sliding out.
Yeah, for the past few episodes, I'm kind of like looking to see if that's going to happen.
He's going down. Gray lady down.
Gray lady down.
So anyway, as I was finishing my story, when my parents got divorced and we moved to Missouri, lived there from 12 years old till graduated high school and did some college. And the winters there are nasty too. You get plenty of snow and ice and all that, plenty of snow days and everything. And so when I joined the Air Force, it was, I absolutely have got to go to warm climates. So San Antonio, Randolph Air Force Base was my first choice. Laughlin here in Del Rio was my second choice. And then I picked some other ones specifically in Florida and everything, and basically all southern tier. There was nothing above the warm band, the deep south that I picked. And so I got my number 2 choice. And for the most part, it's been great, except when we get weather like this.
This is awesome weather.
No,
what are you talking about?
Not.
Yeah, this is...
No.
For those of you that are like tuned in and are watching the show, if you haven't tried it or would like to try, doing a night dive. Robert and I are going to go on a night dive shortly after the show.
Yeah,
so
right.
Just go ahead and...
How many S's in Fat Chance? You sitting there in your heavy-duty coat there. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you mentioned, that I didn't ride my bike over here. No, I didn't.
Right.
I jogged, actually. This is jogging weather.
I don't believe you. Not at all.
Now, traffic,
Is it sleeting? I thought I heard
Yeah.
on our air conditioner out here. We've got a window unit. I heard this.
Yeah.
I was like, is it sleeting?
It is. It was kind of a sleet slash snow.
It's sleet.
Yeah, sleeting, sleeting, or however you like to call it, Schlitterbahn.
We've got Schlitterbahn here in Del Rio.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like Del Rio is anytime it rains, traffic comes to a near halt.
Yeah, and especially in Del Rio, they're like, what do we do with this stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, I spent plenty of driving in Missouri and parts, north. So this is nothing. This is nothing compared to that. But it is funny to watch the craziness of locals who've never ventured outside of Del Rio.
No.
They don't know what to do.
Every winter it gets like this in Austin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and when I was living there, I kind of got used to it. That when I came back to Del Rio, I was kind of like, why is everybody driving so slow? It was kind of funny, but it's, sad but true.
Sad but true.
Sad but true.
So have you pretty much lived in Del Rio all your life, or you spent some time away for a while?
I spent some time away for a while. I went to go, got my computer skills, working for Dell. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember us talking about that.
Yeah, so.
But glad to be back in Del Rio, huh?
Actually, kind of mixed emotions. Of course, Del Rio is my hometown.
Yeah.
So, I wasn't born here, but I was raised here. So,
Wait a minute, where were you born?
I was born in Fort Hood, Texas.
Fort Hood.
Yeah.
Oh.
So when we go to do our training,
that's coming up again this year.
Yeah, it is.
We got to go up.
It's kind of like me going home.
Yeah. Well, how old were you when you left there?
Oh gosh, I was a baby. Well, probably like one. I think my dad was in Korea at the time, so my mom was living there on the base.
Yikes.
Yeah. So.
So what was your dad doing? Or what was his thing? Obviously Army, because it's.
Yeah, he was in the Army. He was part of the Hell on Wheels.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah,
I bet he had some interesting stories to share.
He doesn't really talk much about it.
Is that because he'd have to kill you, or
no? He's never said it. He's just never really talked about it. It's kind of one of those things that, he's got everything there. My mom's kind of posted everything on the wall, right, at their house. Of all his medals and letters and all of that stuff. But he won't talk about it.
Well, that's a shame. I mean, is it just something that was kind of bad experience for him, or some people have they go through a lot and they don't want to deal with the flashbacks or any of the post-traumatic stress.
It's one of those things growing up. I mean, me talking to him, he just never really talked about it. And then kind of like my grandfather, his father, he was also in the Army. He was there at when they invaded, the beach in Normandy.
Yeah.
He was one of the ones from like Private Ryan. He was one of the guys running up the beach.
Wow.
So he never spoke either of his experiences, except of course, every Christmas, I don't know why, but he would cry.
Wow.
But we never knew. I remember I was being small, and they would ask him, they would ask him, his kids. My father would ask him, Dad, are you okay? And he just would never talk about it. He would just cry. So obviously there was something there. My father, out of all my uncles, my father and my grandfather were the ones who served in the military.
Right.
Out of that family.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of they just didn't talk about it. So.
Wow.
But yeah, he's got his uniforms and stuff there, and they have the Hell on Wheels patch.
Sweet.
Yeah, so he was.
What a heritage.
Yeah, so he was
heritage. My dad, a large part of my dad's side of the family were military, pretty much all Navy. So I broke ranks, literally and figuratively. my dad served in the Navy, as did my mother, she's
in the Navy.
Yeah. Well, she was naturalized American because she was born in England. But she was able to join the Navy and serve for a time as well. My dad he did the radar type stuff. So that's, I guess, his propensity for working on tech stuff. Just grew after that. Because I can remember so many evenings, the soldering iron, going to town on building his own radios. He was big into CB, and he'd fix everything. There wasn't too much electronic in our house that he wouldn't make an attempt to repair. And so he would get like old monster radios from people or TVs, and if they didn't work, he'd fix them and get them working, and we'd use them in the house. It was great. He had one of those great big monstrous, I don't know what kind it is. I always think of a Philco radio. Those big things have 287 knobs on it, of which only 2 worked. One was the on-off volume on-off volume selector, and the other one was the channel selector. All the rest of the knobs were just in case those 2 fell off, you could replace it really quick. But he'd have that thing apart, and we'd go down to the old. This is going way back. He would go down to the old RCA store, where they were like what Radio Shack became later, which is nothing. They're nothing like that even anymore. Yeah. But you go into RCA store, ancient place, smelled musty, but it was towering shelves of drawers of vacuum tubes and transistors and resistors and capacitors. I mean, the big honking things that you see in old sci-fi movies.
I remember, of course, this was early in my youth. I remember going into the mall when Radio Shack used to be there.
Yeah.
And they used to have the transistors because back then, it was the old school TVs
and stuff, yeah.
To where you had those big little tubes.
Yep.
And you would actually put them into the TV and solder them in yourself and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my dad. And so I guess I picked up the love of getting into that kind of stuff from him. So the fruit did not fall far from the tree. But
that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So go ahead.
When you got here to the base, what year?
1983.
1983. My grandfather actually was working as a maintenance guy on base at the time.
Ah.
Yeah, I don't know. His name was Cesar.
Probably wouldn't know him from Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Back in that time, Laughlin was a much larger military population and relatively small civilian population by comparison. So the 2 maintenance organizations that existed, and this is like some serious inside baseball here, the 2 maintenance organizations that we had were OMS and FMS, the Operational Maintenance Squadron and the Field Maintenance Squadron. So they were the different aspects of working on the aircraft. Well, of course, in the 90s, they changed over to civilian, all civilian. Mm-hmm. So if he was one of those organizations, which he probably was, there were lots of people.
Yeah.
Lots of people. I came to know other military members if they were in my squadron or if they were musicians, singers, that type, because we'd always have the annual talent contests. And so I got to know a lot of the guys from the med group back then. They were absolutely dangerous when it came to, they had all the talent on the base, it seemed like. I mean, we had our fair share in the squadron I was in, but it seemed like, the most awesome band was a bunch of guys from med group. They had a great vocal group from there. I got to actually join the band. I was the only white guy. I was the token white guy in the band. But the name of the band was Suede.
Suede, okay.
Yeah.
So it's typical for 80s.
Yeah, very, very talented guys. The bass player, I think he was a dental technician. That guy could thump and snap and pop like nobody's business. Unfortunately, it became his undoing because he was playing one time and he just broke into a solo and literally broke his thumb
Where he was hitting
what
so
he was
hard.
hitting so hard. I mean, he was magic. He could do
Wow.
all sorts of stuff, but he's snap, and then hit. I've never seen a black guy turn white because he did, man. He just had the look in his face. Of course, med group. He's seen blood and everything, so it was just like the shock of what he'd done. So he just once he got his composure. He calmly handled it, and they're like, "Okay, let's go to the hospital." Which, of course, we had a full-fledged hospital on base. So,
Right.
Man, that was messed up. Eventually it healed, and he was able to play, but he never quite played as aggressively.
Well, some lessons some lessons are learned the hard way.
No kidding, but that was back in the day when we had lots of military folks. So I probably wouldn't have known. Unless he was a musician or singer, I wouldn't have recognized him.
No. When his early on, I think prior military, he was a musician, but that was back when he was a kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was many.
That's a shame when I hear about people who they were musicians as a kid. I hate to see somebody who's got a talent and then they give it up as they get older. There's a number of things that happen, life changes where they give it up, and I run into parents all the time. If I see that their child or their children have a talent, have a propensity to be a singer or musician, I try to get them and say, hey, you need to encourage this. Don't beat them over the head with it because you'll actually turn them away from it. They'll rebel, but put them in opportunities where, because kids like to show off. Mm-hmm. They like to be the center of attention at various ages. And so that's an opportunity to encourage that. Say, hey, play for your grandma or whatever. Yeah. Feed that desire so that they perfect their talent because they will appreciate it later. There's just been so many people that I run into that they give it up when they're younger and they stop doing it. And maybe they pick it up years later, but it's a shame if they walk away from it. Very what's your week been like, my friend?
My week has been kind of busy, actually. Things that at my work have been very strange. It's kind of like I mentioned before,
right?
That we can go a long time without having an incident or
right.
anything. And then all of a sudden, it's like the stars line up right, the planets are aligned, and just something freaky happens. Well, it was one of those weeks.
Like Freaky Friday, but all week?
Yeah, pretty much. Instead of just a lot of weird stuff. I can't really talk about it.
Right.
But, I'll gladly share with you after the show, so that
off the record.
Off the record, right? Because I just don't know who's out there in cyber world listening.
Right.
But just a lot of things. And in 2 days, the last 2 days, it was Thursday and Friday. I'm like, yesterday was probably the weirdest day. We had 3 incidents, all happen within 30 minutes.
All at the same campus?
Yeah.
Good.
All in one campus.
Gracious.
All at the, all within 30 minutes.
Is it something in the water or?
Well, I guess, some of it I can share and some of it I can't share.
Right.
It started out with the Red River dump trucks.
Okay, they come around, they pick up the trash.
Yeah, they go around, they pick up the trash from the dumpsters, and where they go to pick up the trash, it's kind of an incline going down into the actual, high school. And there's a gate. So they call us and let us know, hey, hey, we need to come in or whatever. So the guy who's assigned to that area by that gate, we'll go out there and unlock the gate and let them in. Right. They'll pick up the dumpsters and then back out. Well, the truck lost its brakes.
Oh, no.
So, it hit the fence.
Ouch.
So we're out there taking care of that. It's not my area, like I mentioned. So I was like, well, there's nothing going on. Let me take a stroll. Let me see what's going on. Of course, that's when the cold front had hit. The wind was blowing. It was freezing outside. So they had to call Red River to come out, and their boss came out with their insurance, information, stuff like that. So just as I was coming in, from the cold, I'm walking in and I'm going through, and there's a long hallway just in front of the main office.
Right.
And then I hear one of the teachers yelling, security, like frantically. So, I start running to the area where she's at, and then all I see is a student and a teacher on the floor.
Oh, that's never good.
Yeah, that's not good. Okay. So that I think I'm gonna stop right there.
Right.
Okay, but then we take care of that situation, and just as we're barely getting situated with that incident. About we probably had just calmed the issue down. We're 5 minutes into this, and then all of a sudden, the nurses get called saying that they need assistance in one of the classrooms with a student. So they're running over there, and I'm like, okay. So I'm over here taking care of the situation, and then all the other officers go over there to see what's going on. And then next thing I hear, over the radio that there's an ambulance coming, PD is coming, the fire department's coming.
Somebody gets sick or?
Yeah, something like that. And I don't really know to the details of it because I was over here handling the other situation. But so they show up, and then they ended up taking the student away because she needed medical help. Wow. And I'm like, what's going on? Well, then finally, it took us about almost 2 hours to deal with the first situation, not with the teacher and student. Right. It took us about 2.5 hours to deal with that. So before you know it, it's already 3:00.
Golly, what a day.
So yeah, and then the day before on Thursday, that was a nightmare. That involved like 7, 8, individuals. I'm like, are you serious?
Goodness gracious. Wow.
So yeah, I was a little busy.
Wow.
And then how, of course, you get everybody asking, "Sir, what happened? Sir, what happened?"
I can't.
You know what happened? I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you what. I can't tell you right now, but I'll tell you around maybe 4:00.
And they're not even going to be there.
Bye.
I've got a new email. That when somebody has a serious medical issue at school, that can be very scary. When I was in junior high school, when I was in 6th grade, actually, we had just moved to Missouri, and so I finished. Actually, we moved during the Christmas holiday. Wonderful time to find out your parents are getting divorced. Oh, yeah. So we were getting set up, and we were going now finishing out. I was finishing out 6th grade there in Missouri, in Joplin, and there was a girl in my class who had full-blown diabetes, and she had to give herself her own shots. Okay. Now, fortunately, our teacher was also trained, as a matter of course, to also help her regulate, to read the indicators. They didn't have the fancy deals where they got now. You had to do the little litmus test, that kind of thing. And also how to administer the insulin shots if necessary. Mm-hmm. Well, my classmate had to excuse herself to go check because she was feeling like she was a little bit out of, not right. So she had to excuse herself to go to the bathroom so she could check her levels. All of a sudden, we hear this blood-curdling scream, and my teacher bolts for the girls' restroom. And it turns out I guess her blood sugar was tremendously low, and the girl panicked because she couldn't give herself insulin. Or maybe it was high. I'm not sure of the relationship. She needed to give herself an insulin shot, and she was so scared because her readings were so far off that she could not do the shot. And so it became a perpetual panic. Oh, okay. And so she just finally screamed, and my teacher bolted, and they ended up calling the ambulance to rush her. And wow. Yeah, it was. So that was my first experience with anything like that, and that was very scary. So,
well, unfortunately, medical conditions are one thing. When you're, how can I put this? When
self-medicating.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this, that's really an understatement.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, but if Coach Frenchie McCray, the football.
I know him.
Okay, well, Frenchie, if you're watching, thank you for assisting me in the nurse's office. For the second round of the,
Wow.
he was like,
that's
man,
an imposing dude.
Yeah, well,
That's
you know
an
what?
imposing dude.
He was like, wow, man, you guys get paid to do this. He got a little taste of the action there for a little bit, and he was like, man, this is like cool, man. You call me anytime. You know what? You give me a radio, and I'll respond. Wow. I'll respond to you guys wherever you guys are at.
That guy is imposing when he comes in the room. Yeah,
he's a little loud. But the nurse was like, she was just holding a pin, like watching the whole
right. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that was around 2 from the first incident.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, this was my first week at my new old job.
Uh-oh. How did that go?
It went well. It ended on a high note. Coming in to an organization that I actually started with back in 1998. I came on board just before the flood happened.
Okay.
But of course, a number of people were still there, but a number have retired, a number have moved on, and so there's a lot of new people here. I'm known pretty well across the base anyway because of all the events that I'm a part of and other things that I do on the base. But so it was kind of neat walking down the halls and like, hey, welcome back. We're glad to have you here. I'm like, okay, I appreciate that because I do. But the way our network security and all that stuff works is basically I had day one and almost day two, I really didn't have access to the network, no computer, and I still don't have all the access I need. So it kind of hobbled my ability to go work on computer issues for folks.
Right.
But of course I did my best, and also having meetings with some of the other organizations on base for some lean Six Sigma events that we're trying to get going. And then kind of getting the feel for what's the power dynamic there, because it's always different as you have new leadership and everything. So, I was used to a fairly, how shall I say? I was used to a fairly hands-off approach to running my shop when I was in the maintenance organization, because I would report to my boss any new exciting things that were going on. But basically, if I kept him out of trouble, I would just need to let him know if there was something he needed to run point on. If it was going to be above my pay grade kind of thing. For the most part, I could find the most efficient.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
That's above my pay grade.
Yeah. Which there wasn't too much that really was above my pay grade. That was the nice thing about, how the level I was at. But so I'm at a different level. This was basically a what they call a lateral move. It wasn't a promotion or anything. And so I'm actually at a lower level within the organization because of the way the hierarchy is structured, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. I haven't figured out which it is yet. It depends on how successful I'm going to be at inculcating some of my lean approaches to stuff. So that can be an interesting challenge. But it has been a good time getting used to the new dig, setting up a new office. You always kind of, it's like moving into a new house or buying a new car. You kind of, okay, now I get there's a whole new room for me to play in kind of thing. So,
kind of tweaking it, making it your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we have our, I've gotten to know or if I've been introduced to some of our Tribble children. You have those customers who they just don't get it. They just don't get it. They kind of know their world, but they don't know anything about the stuff they're working on. So they ask you questions that you're going, why are you even asking that question? It's not germane to what you're doing. It's not important. And you wouldn't understand it if I could give you an answer. And they ask you for answers about things for which you couldn't possibly have an answer. especially if it's not something that's under your control. Like, when's this going to be fixed? That I have passed that ticket on to the entity that's responsible for that. I have no control over it. Otherwise, I could give you an estimate. If it were me doing it, it'd be done within minutes. But now we've centralized stuff, and so it will take days. So I can't promise you. Well, I've got and of course, they want to give you a laundry list of reasons why it needs to be up right now. And I totally sympathize.
Right.
However, I can do nothing about it. It's like you going to a nurse and complaining about all these reasons why you need your gallbladder removed. She sympathizes with you, or he, if it's a male nurse. They sympathize with you, but there ain't nothing they can do about it because it's the surgeon that has to do the work.
I'm in pain. Can you take it out like right now?
Yeah.
It's easy. I saw it on YouTube.
Exactly.
It's easy. I saw it on YouTube.
You could do it.
All I need is some vice grips and some scissors.
Yes, exactly. Because I can pinch off the blood vessel. Yeah. Yeah. And I got a needle and thread. I've got a really brand new serger.
Yeah, I bought a bedazzler just clip it,
That's it. I got super glue. I guess we can do this.
You got a hot glue gun in the
I do. I have a couple of those.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and
wow.
Dealt with those type of customers in the past.
Yeah.
They try to, I guess, sound like they know what they're talking about by using very sophisticated words and, oh, well, I did this, or I've tried this at home, and
right.
It's working at home, but it doesn't work here. Well, that's because at home you've got full access to your machine, right. And here we're on a restricted network. And there are, of course, policies that you just will not allow you to do that. Well, how come I can't get to YouTube, or no, how come I can't check my Yahoo mail,
right.
At over here? And well, that's because of viruses and things of that nature.
Because you people are not smart enough to protect yourselves, much less a whole network from that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, over this week, did you happen to get a chance to check out any movies at all?
I did, actually.
Please share.
Actually, yesterday, I went to go see the new Hunger Game movies.
Okay.
There's some movies there that I kind of want to see, but they're not like on my top list. I wanted to go see this one because there's a lot of hype about it. So when
right.
people give a lot of hype to something, I saw the first one, was good. A little troubled, the kids,
That's the thing that turned me off. I was like, I can't watch that.
Getting, smothered or slaughtered. I didn't want to say that word. But,
right.
Anyway, they're, if you've seen the movie or read the books, pretty graphic. Anyway,
right.
This one was actually really good. It was kind of boring. I think I fell asleep.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay, are you sure it wasn't because you just had an exhausting time with all the excitement and maybe you were tired?
It could have been I was tired.
To be fair, but still, that's pretty bad.
I think I caught myself snoring. That's what woke me up.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
I
woke myself up from the snoring, and the theater was packed.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh no!
But I think I must have just. I think I just went something like once and I opened my eyes.
I have been to movies where there's somebody snoring. I'm like, please get out. Wow.
The thing is it's when people are they fall asleep, and I can understand. You go to a movie late at night and you're tired. You're tired.
Absolutely.
It's quiet depending on the movie. If it's intriguing to you, regardless, it's dark, quiet. You're gonna fall asleep.
Yeah.
And So, but I've never had somebody come, kind of shake the guy and say, "Excuse me, you okay?
Snoring.
You're snoring," And it's like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry," And but at least have the courtesy to say, "Hey, guy, you okay? Just checking because you were snoring," who knows? A person might have sleep apnea or something,
That's right.
and just eventually just caught up on them. Anyhow, so
how long was this movie?
The movie was. I don't really know exactly how long it was. I went in at 10:15, got out at 1:00.
Ah, okay.
So it's about 2.5, maybe.
Wow, that's kind of long.
Yeah, I think around there it was 10, 11, 12. Yeah,
Wow.
about maybe 2.5, 2 and change. Anyway, the movie was good. I liked it. It was a little dragging in the beginning.
Right.
It was just a little slow, and then the last probably 10, maybe 15 minutes of the movie is
Right.
when they're actually, hunting. So that actually was pretty cool. There's a twist to it though.
There's always something.
Right. This one actually was more of a. The first one seemed more violent because it involved the kids.
Right.
This one actually involves adults for the actual hunting part.
Right.
So I don't want to give away too much for those of you that are out there. But it was cool, but it kind of left you hanging because
that is the second of 4.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So it just kind of like it ends just like I remember the Twilight, the second of Twilight, where the girl is kind of like, and it just ends. That's exactly what happens. No, the main character, the girl that shoots the bow,
Yeah.
she's just like, they do a close up of her eyes, and she's just kind of like breathing heavy because she's upset, and all of a sudden just cuts off.
Huh? Kind of like the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, it's weird. But they're building up for the other
Nice.
movies.
Oh yeah.
So
obviously.
but actually it was very
So that was the only thing you watched, huh?
yeah. That was the only thing I got to watch.
Wow.
It's been a busy week.
Well, speaking of movies and science fiction and fiction and all that stuff, I'm a Doctor Who fan, and Doctor exactly Doctor Who fan. We've been. I kind of grew up watching a number of the iterations of the series back in the day, and over the last few years, BBC America has been showing the new seasons, or what do they call them? I guess they call each season a series rather than the whole thing being a series. And today, this afternoon, at an odd time, they had the new season starting off, and it's the 50th anniversary. So 50 years ago today, Doctor Who first was broadcast. And let me bring up screen region here. So the gentleman you see on the screen now, he is the 11th person to play the Doctor.
Wow.
The idea of the character is that he is a Time Lord, and he's got like 2 hearts or 4 hearts or something like that. And you see John Hurt there in the screen. It's hard to tell it's him. But at the end of last season, the Doctor on the left there, that guy, he is going through this big cataclysmic event, and he ends up in this weird place suspended in time and approaches this old gentleman, and it turns out to be John Hurt playing another iteration of the Doctor. And what happens is it's kind of a self-writing issue so that they can have longevity with the character, and a particular actor doesn't have to play the Doctor all the time. They have a mechanism in the show where the Doctor every so often goes through a complete transformation. His energy, it kind of it sort of explodes, and he goes through a complete physical transformation. Carries through all the memories and things, but a different personality, different look. So you can have, basically, you can, by doing that, if somebody says, "Oh, I'm tired of playing the Doctor," okay, well, it's time for a transformation. And so this is the 11th guy to play the character. And so they had the, I guess would be the new season opener this afternoon. It was a 75-minute episode. I know, odd.
75 minutes.
75-minute episode. So they had that. So that's, Tara happened to be watching it because it started taping, because we've got our DVR set to record all new episodes of Doctor Who and a number of other shows that we watch regularly. And so she said, hey, there's a new one being taped. I was like, I didn't think that was supposed to be starting up again until December. But I totally forgot that this was the 50th anniversary. So so I'll be watching that probably this evening.
So no night dive?
No night dive. No night dive. So for those who are interested, I'm hoping that there's some way for people who are interested in kind of playing catch up on at least some of the various iterations to watch older episodes. And evidently they found some missing episodes, because eventually all the older ones would show up in syndication in various places. That's where I actually saw a lot of them, where they were in syndication. Till Tom Baker picked up the role, and then that's when we saw them on TV, actual. But that would be kind of neat to be able to watch all those. But that's a lot. 50 years. 50 years. 50. It started when I was 1 year old.
Wow, that's like. Well, you could probably watch them all. It'd be like watching the entire trilogy of Lord of the Rings.
Well,
that would be
with painful.
the extended versions.
Oh yeah, the extended version. Yeah, that would be painful. Were the car driving in the background? Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I think I might do that this week since I'm off all week.
Just do all the.
I think Rings. Because it's gonna be cold and kind of gloomy. I think maybe I'll just do that. Just sit
veg out on that.
Yeah, definitely.
That's something I guess somewhat
with a lemon meringue pie.
Yeah. Oh no. So, oh wow, it's already flying by. All right. Last week we kind of did our first ever local restaurant review.
Yeah.
We don't get actually, and this probably will not be a weekly thing because we don't get a lot of new restaurants, but we did finally get to try out Poppers.
I saw when you checked in on that.
Yes.
So,
that was actually really good too. It kind of bothers me that they're not open on Mondays and Tuesdays, but the young lady who runs the place, very, very fun to talk to. She comes by at the table and chats with you, kind of gets to know you. She's a fun person, really sweet. It's kind of neat. You go into the place and each table has its own little, like a 32-inch TV by it.
Oh, wow.
And you have a little basket with the remote control, so you can change the channel, watch whatever you want that's on their, that's in their package that they got. So you can watch anything that you want at your table.
That's cool.
Yeah. I mistook the way the restaurant was advertised. It's a media cafe, is how it titles itself. Poppers Media Cafe. And hence the TV at every table.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of that, I also think my assumption is, and this is where I erred. My assumption is that there would be like free Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
No internet.
Oh,
I mean they have their own internal and secure and everything, but no free Wi-Fi. So my suggestion is that they add Wi-Fi.
Right.
That would be the pièce de résistance. Now, the way it's set up is you go in. It's not very big, so they couldn't hold a lot of people. But you go in, and there are booths on one side with TVs on the wall in front of each one's. And then on the other side, they're kind of high-top tables, okay? And then in the middle is more of a little lounge area. So they have like a couple of, comfy chairs and a couch and a coffee table, that kind of thing. So you can just kind of sit around and chat or read books and, drink your frou-frou coffee or whatever.
And no Wi-Fi.
What? Yeah.
Okay.
So I think they should add that. I hope this place survives because the food was excellent and very good prices. Not a huge variety.
That was what I was going to ask you. Yeah. Can you give us a kind of like a rundown on the bill of fare there?
I had their what they called a classic club, and it was absolutely delicious. Tara had their poppers, their jalapeno poppers, and she said they were excellent.
They were popping?
They were good. Troy had one of their soups. It might have been the clam chowder, and he loved that. Of course, they have the hamburgers. They have some other kind of fancy sandwiches and that kind of stuff, and salads and things like that. Right. So it's not a place that you would go to have like your typical like Chili's sit down meal. But man, the sandwich was so, sandwich and had the fries. The sandwich was so big, I had to cut it in half and bring the other half home.
Oh, okay.
I could not eat it all.
Wow.
Yeah. So great food. Again, not a large menu, but it's very, very good, very well priced, a very comfortable atmosphere. The only downer that I would say is the Wi-Fi.
Wow.
But so I recommend Poppers out on Highway 90 as you're heading out to the lake. It's in the old stomping grounds where we used to go. They had a restaurant in the country market.
Let's just say, hopefully, like you mentioned, hopefully it'll still be around,
right?
And it'll make it, through the winter, which, it's probably be kind of rough.
Well, I tell you, that's going to become a very frequent spot for us to go, like after church.
Oh, okay.
Lunch after church. It's very good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Would that be a place, let's just say, how we used to do our diving, is that a place where we could just after
I have
dive,
to look at the hours and see what they do, because we're typically diving on weekends and they're open on weekends. I just have to look at the hours.
Okay.
But that would be a good spot.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because I remember the other spot was perfect.
Oh, I loved it.
Golly.
Yeah.
We'd go in there, like dripping with, wet. And just in sandals and our dive logs, and we'd sit there and...
Yeah, now they probably wouldn't let us sit on the little couch area. But at one of the tables or booths, yeah.
Cool.
Very, very nice.
Awesome.
So the title of the episode this week is, of course, our tech wish list. And so I didn't get any heads up from you, so I am assuming that you're going to be able to speak to it, and I will try to feverishly maybe pull up some pictures and stuff.
My tech wish list really is not very big. A couple of things that kind of catching my is, of course, the new iPhone.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna, go for that. I kind of wanted to wait. I didn't want to just dive right into it because, of course, all of the issues with certain, like the blue screens and just little things like that. I kind of wanted to wait until people could, try it out first. And of course, they sold 400 million of these the first week.
I assume you're going to go for the gold.
Actually, no.
Really? I'm shocked because that's the one that everybody's going
for.
For.
You see, that's the thing. I mean...
you didn't want to be like the rest.
No. For me, I have the black one. The black on black right now. I have the iPhone 5, though.
Right.
But I think I'm going to go for the white one this time. Okay. The gold one, even though that they said, well, they don't have it in stock here, but they can order it. It'll take like 7 days to get it.
Yeah.
Not a bad, a week, and it'll get to your house. But no, I don't want,
Okay. Fair enough.
It's a little too flashy. I'm not about the flash,
Right.
But I wanted to wait to see, how the phone was going to do and things like that. That's the number one.
Interestingly, the 5C is not doing well at all.
No.
I'm shocked. Everybody's just saying, no, we want the 5S. So they very quickly cut in half their production of the 5C, and now they just announced this week, they cut it in half again.
Yeah.
So people just aren't buying it. Because basically it's the 5, just in a colorful case. And they're like, well, if I wanted that, I would just keep the 5.
Well, yeah, I mean...
If I want a new one, I'm going for the 5S. So I think that might have been an overplay on their part.
Yeah. And then, of course, they priced it kind of high.
Yes.
To begin with.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the iPhone 5. It's just, in a, kind of a plastic case.
A candy shell.
But even at that case is not by no means flaky. I mean, it's pretty solid. I've seen a couple of them, and they're at the school, and I'll say, hey, can I see that? And I'll look and I'll tell them, how do you like it? And they're like, it's durable. I've already dropped it a couple of times where, and it's sustained itself. Of course, it gets scratched, but still, it's nice. Of course, the colors stand out. You can see them coming from like a mile away, kind of like your phone. So it's a bright yellow. Yeah. But I think I'm going to go with the 5S.
Okay.
And the other thing that I'm kind of looking at is the new iPad. The Air. I'm kind of looking at that one right now, but I'm not really too sold on it just yet.
What is what's your holdout?
Because it does everything that my current, my iPad does. The only thing is, of course, it's a lot smaller. So for me, it's about the product, but it's also about the type of accessories that I can get for it.
Right.
Since it's so new, there really isn't anything out there yet. Like, for example, for the iPhone 5S, because it has that touch sensor for the fingerprint read, there's a lot of manufacturers, like for phone cases, that haven't developed their cases yet for it.
Allows for that.
Yeah, so I kind of just wanted to wait for that. And now the OtterBox and even LifeProof now has started coming out with cases that support. They're made for that. So kind of want to wait. Also, the same thing for the Air. There's no cases, and since it's so small, I kind of started using my iPad a little bit more now. I take it places with me and stuff, and I kind of want something so I don't have to worry too much about banging it around. Thin, yes. And everything is great. The only thing is, I just don't like dents. I don't like things like that. I'm real picky. So I kind of want to just make sure that everything is taken care of.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the other thing.
Okay.
And I would like, this is another wish list, replace my current TV.
With?
Maybe a 50-inch TV.
I tell you, at this point, I'm going for nothing less than a 60-inch TV. The prices are just insane right now, and the word is they're going to drop even more because retailers and discounters they're already set for this showing up as the worst holiday sales period ever. So in order to draw people in, they're going to have to gut prices, and they're already insanely low now. I mean, you can get a 60-inch television for under $1,000.
Oh yeah. Basically, I saw the Walmart ad where they're gonna have for their Black Tuesday or
whatever it is now,
or Thursday,
Black Thursday,
Dark Friday, or I don't know what.
Yeah.
They're gonna break it up into. Sandy was telling me they're gonna break it up into.
Like phases.
Phases, exactly. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen it. Okay, they're going to break it up into phases. First phase is going to have so many products. And here's the thing. Walmart is guaranteeing those products for an hour.
What?
Yeah. So
but then you're going to have to beat people to death in order to...
Well, you see, that's kind of why they're doing it in phases, okay? So that not everybody's there waiting. So in other words, they're offering these products that say at from 6 to 7. That's what you're going to be able to get.
Oh, wow.
Did you see that? That's the one I'm telling you. First,
that's 60.
Yeah, 60-inch for $700.
Oh my gosh. And it's a 120 hertz.
Uh-huh.
LED. Ooh.
They guarantee that baby for an hour. That they'll have it guaranteed in stock for an hour. Most people grab 1, 2, or 3 or whatever.
I just want one.
Yeah, exactly. You only need one.
See, then I would take our 47 and I'd find a way to put that in here so I could connect.
Actually, you hit a button and it'll just come up right here.
We were watching. I was watching some, crazy boat houses or something like that, and this guy had a stand at the end of their bed. They push a button, it would just go.
Yeah.
And show. I'm like, gotta be kidding.
But they're gonna have things in phases. So if you haven't seen it, go by Walmart, pick up their ads. They're gonna have
$688 for a 60-inch Vizio.
Yeah, they're gonna have the Beat headphones for $114. Games, movies, Blu-rays.
$98 32-inch TV.
Yeah. Yep.
If you need something for the kids' room, that's perfect.
We're gonna pick that up.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah, because
wow, that's remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
So you haven't gone by Walmart here if you're in Del Rio, swing by, get your little ad so that you can see what's available for you so that you can get in line.
Wow.
But
yeah. Okay, so anything else on your list?
That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, I happen to have a slideshow ready of my events. First on my list
is
the Xbox One. Evidently, they kept a nice pace comparison to the PS4.
Yeah, they
PS4
beat 'em
sold
out.
over 1 million the first 24 hours. Xbox did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, not to be the also ran, they also had a few hardware issues as well.
Oh, really?
The PS4 had a couple of different issues: hard drives not working on some, and the never booting. It would just give them the little blue light and just froze. Evidently, some hard drives, they're saying Microsoft, of course, trying to pull damage control, says having for a very, very, very limited number, but I'll take that with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
The hard drive's not functioning correctly on.
Well, it could actually be the hard drives themselves. See, because a hard drive that you find in an Xbox might be from the same manufacturer that's going to be in the
absolutely
Sony's.
could be.
So it might.
There's only like 3 manufacturers left. So
Seagate,
Western Digital,
and what's the name of the other?
left?
I think it's only those two.
I think that may be.
Anyhow, I remember working at Dell when we had systems crashing.
Yeah.
We would the actual oh God, what do you call them? The technicians that would go in there for the quality control would go and actually grab a case of hard drives off the shelf and take them back there so they could go ahead and burn them, which is
be ready for hot swaps.
Yeah, actually burn them to see if they were going to fail or not, to see if it was based on serial numbers or whatnot. And sure enough, if one failed, you just got a bad batch.
Yeah.
So they ended up having to just get new hard drives, replacing them. Then they would burn them real quick. It was about a 45-minute process. If the drives were going to fail, they would fail within that test.
Yeah.
And of course, swapping them out, and then all of a sudden that we would start putting those drives in instead of the other ones. So it could be just a bad batch of drives. I wouldn't necessarily think it's a system because I'm sure they've tested it thoroughly.
Oh yeah, since they were a week later with their deal, but that Microsoft has reported that they are expediting with all due diligence, swapping out. They're not even debating over it. They're like, we'll send you a replacement.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so definitely the Xbox One. I did find out. I figured we'd hear more after people started getting them because they released yesterday. My big thing was, how does it work with satellite? Because they showed off that in the demonstrations that you see the guide, you could just tell it Xbox Sci-Fi Channel and it would go there. I'm like, okay, that's great for cable TV.
Right.
How's it work with satellite? Well, somebody posted they hooked it up to their dish network and it works great. Perfect. I'm like, all right, that settled it for me. Being able to walk into the room and the Kinect recognize you with facial recognition and it just says, "Hi, Robert," or "Hi, Tara."
Yeah.
And then you can it does voice recognition, so you can say, "Show my stuff," and it will change the screen to show your tiles, all your preferences right there. If Tara walks in, she can say, "Show my stuff," and it will recognize her voice, and it will set it up to show what she wants. You can snap the TV to the side and do Skype or do the internet or whatever. I'm like, okay, that is the doo-doo right there for me.
Yep.
So that was the first thing on my list. Next on the hit parade, of course, I want to get the Surface Pro 2. I'd sell for the Surface Pro or the Surface 2, but I really want the Pro 2.
Yeah.
That will, if it's the Pro 2, I'll absolutely, it will be obviously not quite the workhorse that my current laptop is, but it'll be perfect for me taking to church because I can have all my stuff loaded on there and be integrated, and I can also have it communicate with my keyboard because I often have to reprogram it because we have kids with sticky fingers that come in and do stuff, and I end up with settings wiped out. Well, the quickest way back is to hook up the laptop to it, and I have software on that legacy software that can talk to so I have all my settings saved, so I can just do a sysx dump right to the keyboard, and I'm back up and running.
Wow.
So I won't be able to do that with the regular Surface 2 because you can't load legacy programs. It's got Office on it, but everything else would have to be just regular apps. So first choice of the two is the Surface Pro 2, but I would also I wouldn't be unhappy at all with the Surface 2. Next on the hit parade, if not either of those, the Lumia 2520. Paul Thurrott did a comparison because he's got both now. Not between this and the Surface Pro 2, but the Surface 2, because this is a WinRT device.
Oh, okay.
So, or what they're just calling Windows 8, or Windows 8.1, but not Windows 8.1 Pro. And so it's more akin to the Surface 2. He did a feature for feature comparison, and the Lumia actually won out for him. So it's interesting to see his take on which things. It wasn't a smackdown, but because this has the Lumia has LTE capability, so you can stick a SIM card. One thing that was a downer for him, and it would be for me too, the Surface 2 and the Surface Pro 2 both have a full-blown USB 3.0 port on it. The Lumia only has a micro USB, which is odd. But this is lighter and thinner. It's got a little bit better graphics on it. He said the visuals on this are stunning. He said they're no slouch at all on the Surface devices, which were a dramatic improvement over the original Surface. But the Lumia, he said, it's got a little bit more powerhouse behind the graphics processing. So this would also be a good alternative. I prefer the touch cover and type cover type approach, because where Microsoft's going with that is all sorts of different, what they call blades, that just snap onto it. So you wouldn't have to have a keyboard. You could have, the regular touch cover. You could have, they already have a secondary one that looks, it's like virtual faders, like a mixing board.
Oh, okay, that's right. For different for the different apps and things like that for it, right? So
they got all these engineers together to come up with ideas. Well, if this is your playing field, what would you do with it? And they came up with all sorts of really cool ideas. Somebody came up with making a touch cover type deal, a blade that has virtual palettes on it, so you could be a painter. So you would just like take your digital pen and put it into like brush mode, and then you would just dab onto the different areas.
That would be cool,
and just be able to do mixing paints. You could be like that guy that used to be on PBS with the big
Bob
afro.
Ross.
Yeah. Well, here's our burnt umber. Burnt umber is your friend.
God, his paintings,
they were stupendous.
They
the
were
guy was
awesome.
brilliant.
He did a lot of paintings, and they don't go on sale often.
Yeah.
But every now and then they'll come up like for sale at an auction or something. They go for hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, he
would just make it. He would start with nothing, and you would just watch a masterpiece be built. But it was just so funny listening to him.
Yeah, he was cool. He was like, okay, let's.
It was like watching golf.
Okay, let's go ahead and put a little tree right here.
And you just draw a line and it looks like a tree.
Yeah, and he
like what?
I like the sound of the brush, like.
Yeah, because they had the super sensitive microphone.
Yeah, I mean the guy was cool. And then he would and we'll just get a little amber white and
just dab it here.
And
it was like this little take his little knife.
Oh yeah,
a little knife thing. It's like scrape. It was almost like he was shaving the.
And then we'll just get a little. No, this little knife is a little too big. Let's go with this one right here. He was cool. He was awesome, Bob. He passed away, but yeah, he was awesome.
So anyway, that was some of the ideas that some of these guys were coming up with. Some of them came up with like fold out, where you open it up and it folds out into left and right to it like a mini keyboard, like piano keyboard.
Oh,
so you could be writing music on this thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, brilliant what these guys are coming up with. So going with the Lumia, you wouldn't have the potential for expanding to those things,
right?
But with the Surface, if they continue to that meme, that could be a gold mine for them if they play that right. But it's Microsoft, so they could blow it. They often take really great ideas and then they just stomp all over them. Usually because somebody's kingdom is getting ruined.
Well, since your boy Steve Ballmer's leaving, maybe it might change.
Who knows? Depends on what the guy that comes in is going to do. Next on my list is a Sennheiser EW173G3 wireless microphone system with the Countryman E6i headset and also the E845 Sennheiser wireless handheld. Tara and I, of course, anybody watches the show or follows me on Twitter or Facebook or any of that knows that we are very much into theater, as well as we do a lot of stuff with our praise and worship at church, everything. The wireless handsets that we've got are quite decrepit; they're old, and so we definitely need to replace those. And Sennheiser is about as good as you can get. I love Sennheiser stuff. Our theater group, the Upstagers, we use this same receiver with different Countryman, a little bit less expensive, actually a lot less expensive Countryman headsets. They're very lightweight and everything, but these are they're virtually invisible, and they're very, very high quality. Of course, they're not cheap, but so what I would like on my wish list for Tara and I both is a complete set like this, so that the headset and the handset work with the receiver. And so whatever our situation is, if we're doing this stuff at church, we use the handhelds. If we're doing stage productions, we can use the headsets.
Right.
Without having to have a completely second system, they all work with our individual, just a single receiver each. So that's also on our wish list. So actually, it's not just my wish list; it's also for Tara, because we're both so active in theater. And then, last but not least, I am maybe interested in this, but I'll wait to see what it looks like at the Mobile World Congress next year. This is one of the early renders of the Lumia 1820, and this is supposed to be the next flagship. That's the rumor. It will have the Windows Phone 8.1, so it'll be the Windows Phone Blue. It'll have it'll come with looks like a metal unibody, so they're going to be stepping away from the polycarbonate, and it supposedly is going to have Cortana, which is their complete redo of voice interaction. And the rumors are that on the heels of that same voice interaction will be coming to their other platforms. In fact, this will be the last. The word is that if you'll notice in the rendering, Nokia is not anywhere on there. It just says Lumia. Since obviously they are now under, or for all intents and purposes
Microsoft.
now, they're under Microsoft. This is supposedly going to be the first one that does not bear the Nokia name on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's taken away from the...
Personally, I do too, unless they can make a good job of trumpeting the fact that all the people responsible for the success of Nokia's line are still at the helm, with it not being called Nokia anymore. They definitely need to keep the Lumia line. I think it would be a huge mistake if they drop the Lumia name and go with Surface. If they want to do a Surface line, let them do a Surface line. But they need to keep Lumia, because that is what that is now that's an accepted name now.
I wouldn't doubt that they'll
throw it under the bus.
Yeah, they're gonna stomp this thing. When things are running good, that's Microsoft's deal. Let's just crush it.
That's a fumble. Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt that somewhere when the finished product is actually done, it's going to say Microsoft somewhere on it.
It may.
It's got
I think
somewhere on the back.
Here's the thing. Here's why I think that would be a mistake. There are enough people that like the way I don't like if it says Apple or Google on it, that they would not If it just says Lumia, they might go ahead and accept it. But if it says Microsoft on there, they're like, no flipping way am I going to buy that. So I think that would be a mistake. I think it would be a mistake to do that. Let them do that with the Surface, Microsoft Surface.
And they do.
Yeah.
They already do, so.
Yeah. So let them do that. Keep Lumia as almost like an affiliate brand. Even though they own it, keep it as an affiliate brand where it doesn't say Microsoft on there. You already have, as they always have had, they already have the logo as the button. So, interesting. Now, what I'm interested to see is if they keep the capacitive buttons, because even though this render, it shows all capacitive, with the latest version, with GDR3 that just came out, they now allow for, of course, the higher resolution. It now supports the quad core processors, which is the 1520 is a quad core. It also supports non-capacitive buttons there, so they could actually make those hardware buttons if they want to.
Wow.
Yeah. So I won't be surprised though if the actual ending one that comes out doesn't have capacitive buttons on it, but we'll see. So I'm interested in this, but I haven't heard any other specs other than what it's going to be the first to do. And I'm like, okay, cool. That sounds very attractive.
When is the schedule?
I think MWC is like February or March.
So then you're looking maybe 6 months after that.
Yeah. Well, actually, if the renders are already here and they announce it there, it probably won't be more than a month. Because that's been typically the way they've been doing it, announcing it about a month ahead. Personally, I think they should not announce it until they're ready to ship, because that's what Apple does,
agree.
and that makes perfect sense. They've been shipping it like the next week.
Yeah, usually they'll do their
big reveal.
They'll do their reveal, and this will be available starting next week.
Yeah,
exactly. And of course, it just gets everybody, hyped up.
Right. So those are my wish list items. It's definitely, it's
a big list.
Big list. Lots of toys, but very, very cool.
Kind of like, well, of course, our phones. The phones are one thing.
Yeah.
But the tablets, mine. It's because I'm starting to use mine more. Yours, you have, everything that I guess it's on our wish list is things that we would use.
Yeah, I call them toys, but we function with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want your Surface Pro because of your music, and of course you'll be able to do your legacy apps.
Yep.
So it'll be pretty much like a smaller,
absolutely,
laptop. Of course, maybe not as power hungry or powerful. And then of course the TV, and you want the Xbox because you want to go ahead and.
I want to control my house.
You want to control. You want a HAL 2000?
No, I want Star Trek.
I want Star Trek, not a HAL 2000.
Well, and then of course the whole Jarvis too. That's kind of because being able to just motion and move things around, that is just way too cool.
And then of course the the headphone things, because you are active. So it's all things that you guys would actually utilize a lot.
Not frivolous.
Yeah, frivolous. So there are people out there like, well, I think I want this. It's like, what do you want it for?
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. Well, one thing actually I didn't mention that I'm hoping, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that maybe somebody out there who's listening will get it for me. I'm actually hoping that Santa will bring me a GoPro 3.
Nice
Plus.
choice.
Yep.
Call that out. Hero 3.
So that's something that I kind of really, really want.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yeah, look at it. It's even got a bowl on it and everything.
It's got your name on it. See, it says it's to Scuba Bob right there.
That's it.
That is a sweet deal. Those are good cameras. And we talked about last week that mask.
Yeah.
That you have, it has a little deal you can actually attach the GoPro to.
I just kind of want to do some things. Like Rob's, I ride a bike, so I could buy the bike handle, the mount for it, and kind of do some video, riding in one place and then relocate the camera to a different location and make kind of like a little movie. And then not only that, when we go on dives, I can take it with us.
Absolutely.
Just do different things with it. One camera, they can do a lot. if I ever do skydiving, I can put it onto my helmet.
Right.
A bungee jump.
And the neat thing about those are they're remote controllable, so you can mount them on something, and they now have apps for the 3 major systems. They have it for iOS, they have for Android, and they have for Windows. So Windows Phone. So you can remote control these things. So if you want to set up your own photo shoot where you don't actually have to be behind the camera, as long as you got a decent tripod, you got it.
So that's kind of what I would like.
Yeah, that's cool.
So hopefully, keep my fingers crossed.
Nice. Yes. See, that has multiple functions. So you could have put that. You could have put that also on your scuba wish list too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
nice.
that's it.
So yeah, we kind of been joking a little bit earlier in the episode about doing a night dive. This is just crazy cold weather. It's supposed to be this way for at least a good half of the week.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, let me see when this is supposed to kick off. I hate this weather. I absolutely hate this weather. I had to go out. I got a haircut today, so I was out in it there. I was like, oh my gosh. And then Tara and I went looking for Christmas trees because our Christmas tree is showing its age. It was one of those that the lights are already built into it, so all you have to do is add everything else. But it's the old school regular light bulbs, and it's like this whole middle section of it that doesn't light up anymore. So she would have to break out the actual lights and string some of those to make up for this huge gap in the middle of the tree. So finally, she put on her schedule today to go looking around for replacement tree. My prerequisite that I was looking for is it needed to be LED. Those generate a lot less heat, so they're more energy efficient, and they are brighter, and they stand up well to being jostled. Your regular light bulbs, there's a filament that heats up, so they're very, very fragile. You could just bump it, and that's burned out, and you're replacing the bulb. LEDs, you don't have to worry about that.
Right.
Well, we found one at Home Depot, as a matter of fact, that it's LED. It's just got the right look as far as the limbs and everything, more realistic. And the LEDs they can either be all white, or they can be colored, multicolored, or it can rotate between the two.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's very cool.
That is way cool.
I was like, okay, this is the tree.
That's it.
This is the tree. And we sat there playing with the little switch to see what it was going to do. I was like, okay, Tara's happy. I'm happy.
Expensive?
$199.
Not bad.
As a matter of fact, going to Russell's True Value, they had other similar kinds of trees, but a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
Add another 100 to start.
Well, I kind of like the fact that you can change the light. Light. That's cool.
That was very, very neat, and it even has purple lights on. So I was a happy camper.
Definitely. That's it. I'm sold. I don't care. I don't care how much.
I just stare at the purple lights. Yeah, here in the Del Rio Metroplex, looks like our weather report is going to show a high tomorrow of 44 degrees. And slowly increasing in temperature throughout the week. By next Friday, we'll be up to 61 for a high. And then we'll take a brief drop on Saturday, back down to 55 as a high. Then we'll be moving up to 64 and 68 for the week after. So, yeah, it's going to be a chilly flipping week this week. I'm glad I broke out my coats from the shed today. I wish I'd broken them out earlier, but oh my gosh.
Nice weather, lovely weather.
So, yeah, I will dive typically at least once a month, throwing on all the typical garb, the hood and everything. But I need to make sure that at least is going to be a sunny day with very little wind, if any wind at all, so that when I get out of the water, it's not as big a shock. Because there's nothing worse than getting out of the water and it's just a cold. There's the psychology of it. It's overcast and drizzly and cold and just makes you feel chilled,
like
to the bone.
The dive we did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's different if you're diving in water. Like right now, I'm sure the lake is still probably 70 something, because it takes a while for water to change temperature. It takes a little longer for it to heat up and to cool down.
Right.
So it would actually be a case right now where the water, I'm sure, is warmer than the air.
Yep.
See, I'm sure it's not. Well, the water, absolutely, I'm sure of that. because the water temperature out here at Lake Amistad has never gotten, in all the time we've been diving out there, below 50 degrees.
Right.
And with 38 degrees, it would be warmer in the water.
It would. Yeah, because it even if it's dropped, it's still, like you said, probably in the 70s.
It's maybe 72, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still doable. So, yeah, you could spend a pretty good time in the water and then get up and just run to the trailer really quick. Yeah. Like we did when we worked on the spring.
The spring.
That was awesome.
You know, I felt like a sauna. It was
did.
so warm.
Yeah, when we got out, though. Woo!
Golly.
February. Oh, goodness. All right. Golly, it's almost 9:30. Let's hit some administrivia, which is going to be very short because there's not much to do. Basically, because we're coming into the holidays, we're not going to have any more dive club meetings because it's basically right up before Christmas. Everybody's going to be out of town doing stuff. So no dive club meeting for December. And if you are insane enough to request a scuba class and you're willing to pay through the nostrils, I might be convinced to do a class. Otherwise, you'll have to go elsewhere. But I don't do dry suit diving, and so if you want to do a class, it can be done, but you got to really desperately want it. You must. If you're probably doing it at this time, you're trying to get certified before you go on a trip or a cruise or something like that. So, yeah.
Not to mention, it's going to be expensive to pay for the instructor. Plus, you're going to need special gear.
No kidding.
Just to get in the water during this time.
Yeah.
So, you gotta really want it back.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I imagine the pool is not going to be open for too much longer, so I'd have to check and see if it's even available.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, if you'd like to interact with us, we definitely encourage you to check us out live. If you're catching us on YouTube, catch us live. Jump in the chat room. We'd love to interact with you. You know, we'll field your questions and all that good stuff. Apparently, nobody was in there today. I would figure on a day like today, what's everybody doing? You know, you got nothing better to do.
They're out there at the lake diving.
Yeah, right. But if you'd like to check us out on the web, you can visit our website, delriodiveclub.com, or jump onto Facebook. Just Facebook.com/Del Rio Dive Club, or you can send us a message via Skype at TGWD. And of course, if you'd like to interact with none other than Scuba Bob, you can follow him on the Twitter at RSGarza435, or send him an email.
Yes, please.
RSGarza821 at yahoo.com.
That's right.
That's right. Or you can follow me on the Twitter at RobertCFP. Or you can send me a shmemail at robert.wade@cetifox.net. So that is pretty much all we have for this week. Now, remember, we're gearing up for our first episode in January is going to be our movie wish list.
The movie
we go in. I'm trying to think if there's any other movies left this year that either of us had on our list that we're waiting for. I think all of them have come out.
All of them have come out, but there's one that I'm actually looking forward to, which is
I, Frankenstein.
No. 47 Ronin.
Oh, I have zero interest
in
that movie.
Why?
I'm not a big Keanu Reeves fan.
Oh, gosh. Well, then I'll go ahead
and I'm not a big fan of that style of movie anyway, the martial arts movies.
I'll go ahead and I'll have to then review that one.
Yeah, by all means. But I don't know. I might be tempted to go see I, Frankenstein. But as like Frankenstein as a action hero, which is how they're playing it off. I mean, it's got the guy who was in Battle for Los Angeles, and
yeah.
He's been in a number of different TV shows and movies. Oh, see any of her chat stuff? Bobby Love says, I see any of her chat stuff. No, because she wasn't in our actual chat room. Okay. She was doing stuff in Facebook.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I guess let's catch up real quick.
Let's see what she says. Oh, only one thing. I knew you were going to say. I know she didn't say anything. Bobby, you did not say anything in the chat room, other than did you see any of my chat stuff? So I don't know what Ustream channel you were going on to, but I'm looking at it and not seeing anything. I'm looking at it here on our laptop, which we have the pop out for the chat room, and I'm looking on our server so we can watch what you guys see. And I see nothing. So that's so funny.
It could be a Microsoft glitch. You know how these Microsoft products are. They just don't work right.
Right. Right. Which I'm waiting to see if because she was talking to her husband about getting the 1520.
That thing is monstrosity. That thing is huge. I mean,
she's a couple of years older than me, so being able to see things comfortably is important for her.
Well, I mean, that thing is like the iPad Mini.
Yeah.
That thing is huge.
It really is. It really does live up to the name phablet.
Right. To me, I think the Galaxy Note looks
small compared to it.
No kidding. I think it was because of the edges or something.
It says, actually, I was on the social stream because the chat just stays on loading. Huh. I don't see. That's interesting.
Doing a test.
Yeah, it's not going. Not seeing it.
Nope.
Huh. That's weird. Well, it may be an issue with Ustream.
Yep.
They have a weird website, and they were just doing some updates, is my understanding. So, and speaking of updates, I've been exchanging emails with the developers for XSplit, the software that we do this podcasting with. And they're trying to make me go back over the exact same troubleshooting that I did before that I said didn't work. And they've already announced kind of a beta testing for version 2. And they said if you tweet this with this hashtag XSplit Next Gen, we'll put you on the list for potentially being on the beta test pool for that. And I'm like, please put me in that list because I want to see if that fixes the issues.
Right.
So it's weird. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping that they let me be on that because I wouldn't mind testing it to see if that because they're supposed to be adding some really cool features to it. Some things are super secret squirrel and they can't tell us till we're under the NDA kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind trying it out and see if at least solves the issues that I'm seeing with this. So.
Well, if you're watching from XSplit, you people down there, trust me, this gentleman right here will definitely put your software through its paces.
No kidding.
If it doesn't work, we'll tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I want to do some cool stuff with this.
Yeah.
And I really do like the software. It's just these last few updates have not been very good. So, all right. Well, that pretty much finishes us up for this week. Bobby, we appreciate you jumping in. Too bad we couldn't. Oh, you know what? Let me click on this. See if it. Oh, see, I can't follow that as well because that almost never works for me. Just going in the chat room. Let's see if she was doing anything. She's on the same. She's looking at the same things that we are. Neat. Cool. Yes, wireless mic. Phablet her phone size. She's probably asking about the 1820. I think that's going to be closer to phone.
Yeah, it's going to be a phone.
Yeah. All right. So you have any last minute bits to share?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, me too. I haven't had dinner yet. I was cooking. I made meatloaf.
Oh.
And so it was just taken out of the oven just before the show started. So my tummy be growling to get into some of that meatloaf, and I'll probably watch the Doctor Who season opener. So
cool.
All right. So as far as you know, anything keeping you from here next week?
Actually, maybe. I'm not really sure. I'm on the fence because there's a church crew that's actually going to be playing at a 15th birthday, a quinceañera.
Yeah.
And they've actually, their percussionist is like not grooving with some of the people. So he hasn't shown up. So they actually have asked me if I could fill in. So it'll be Saturday. I believe it's at 6. So depending on how quick we can get through it, I might and I might not be.
Okay.
So
Just keep me posted.
I will keep you posted as the time.
Yes.
But
yes.
yeah, so this morning I actually went to go practice with them, and it was interesting. Of course, Spanish music, but it's fast. So I'm like, well, I can get into this. And I was actually getting real into it. I was jamming. And this older lady, this lady that was there, she was just kind of strumming her guitar, watching me. And then she just goes, I like him.
Nice.
He's motivating.
Bobby says, get in my tummy. No white meat. The other white meat.
Nice.
Nice.
Get in my belly.
Get in my belly. I'm higher up on the food chain than you.
Hey,
He'd move now. Get the paper. Move with that gargantuan cranium if you can. Oh, no, I've done it. I've gone and hurt his feelings. Now he's going to go cry himself to sleep on this huge pillow. Look at that head. It looks like an orange on a toothpick. It's so big it's got its own solar system. That's great.
You love that movie.
For those who don't recognize what that's from So I Married an Axe Murderer. And that's just
it's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Hilarious.
It's hilarious.
It's great. Charles Grodin has a great cameo in there.
Yeah.
Deadpan. It was just a great scene.
I need to borrow your car. No.
I happen to know you can't commandeer this car.
I happen to know that you cannot commandeer.
You're just not going to budge on this commandeering thing. No. That's great.
No, the thing is like when he's flying in the French
with Stephen Wright.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, this thing's only wrong." What was it?
He was the pilot, and of course, deadpan delivery. I love Stephen Wright's comedy. He's so funny.
It was all good.
Funny. All right, well, that finishes us out. Bobby, thanks for jumping in there. Sorry we didn't see your social stream. Don't know why your chat side wasn't working. It was working fine for us, but I'll see if I can. Figure out a way to get that to work both sides. Maybe I can bring up both streams at the same time. That would be pretty cool. And just can encourage other people to interact with us on the show because we love to taunt you. Oh, no, wait a minute. That's Monty Python. Oh, real quick. Monty Python. Getting back together for a tour.
Yep.
I'm like, awesome. I
saw that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Talk about some talented people.
Oh, speaking of which, have you heard of that new movie that's coming out, Noah?
Yes, we were talking about that at church the other day.
Yeah, that I actually saw the previews on the Hunger Games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was on one of the previews. It looks very interesting.
So it's theatrical release, not TV.
No, it's gonna be a movie.
Wow.
Yeah. It's actually called Noah. It's about Noah's Ark. And actually Russell Crowe is Noah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and you can actually there's already movie trailers for it. Very interesting. So kind of want to check that out.
Huh. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of take they're playing on that.
It seemed very interesting. He's got like.
Let's see, Noah movie trailer. Dun, dun, dun.
Let's see.
Which one looks like it might be it?
That one.
That one?
I think that one.
Let's see if it'll let us switch to that. So we'll do a commercial.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
No. What did he say?
Told me to figure out what a qubit was.
Can it not be averted? Man corrupted this world,
Oh, wow. Okay.
so we must be destroyed.
A great flood is coming. We build a vessel to hold the innocent.
Mama! It's them!
Is that Jennifer Connelly?
What? Did you really think you could protect yourself from me in that?
It's not protection from you.
I have men at my back, and you stand alone and defy me?
I'm not alone. When they come, they will be desperate and there will be many.
Snakes are coming too?
All that crawls, all that slips.
Remember, Noah, he chose you for a reason.
Take the ark!
Choice was in your hands, Noah.
It begins.
Wow. Yeah, Bobby says that looks interesting. I would say so.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, there's a scene there that goes, you know, snakes are coming too, and Russell Crowe goes,
Oh, let me kill that.
Russell Crowe's anything that slithers and crawls is coming.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I
That's
saw
gonna
that
be pretty
last
powerful.
night. Yeah, and of course when I saw it, I was like, hadn't heard anything about it until I just saw the preview.
Yeah, it was just on. We were just talking about this at praise team practice the other night.
Yep,
Wow.
there you go.
Impressive. I'm just really pleased that Christian movies are actually they're becoming high dollar. I mean, you had like Passion of the Christ, which
Right.
was that just tears me up every time I see it.
Yeah.
It just brings it really home. But yeah, high dollar value, big names, and just that the message is getting out there. That's pretty cool. Love it.
Yeah, you
Love
know,
it.
and it's something that I think needs to be,
Yeah.
you know, told.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it was great. I was gonna talk to you about it after the show. I'm like, yeah, I saw.
That's okay. We got
so-
technology. We can
I
just
got-
throw it on up there.
I got a movie trailer
right.
that I want to, so that I
Yeah.
saw. It was
Cool.
so cool. There you go.
All right,
It is
awesome.
a movie.
Yes. Soon to be released. Cool.
Yeah, actually, I believe in. I think it's gonna come out in March.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's too long.
Yeah,
I want it now. In time for Christmas.
right now. But what I did hear that they're gonna release pretty soon on Christmas, which I think I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna tell you what your present's gonna be. Is gonna be Elysium.
Oh, you're just wrong.
I'm sorry, I had to go there with
That's
that.
just wrong.
Get it for you on Blu-ray.
Yeah, right. Well, that pretty much finishes us up for this week. Hopefully, you'll be back with us next week. If not,
Yes.
just give me a heads up. I'm going to see if I can get Troy on here. I thought he was going to be available to do the show this week so he could share his tech wish list, but maybe we can get him to kind of do a belated one for next week in case you're not going to be here.
I actually I think I know his wish list. It's anything Microsoft.
Well, he's definitely. I think the Surface would probably show up on there, but
Yeah.
there's probably some other cool stuff that he's got, especially with his new job that he's doing. So he's really loving it. So,
That's right.
all right. Well, listen. As always, we really appreciate those of you who are watching the show with us and jumping into the chat room. And send us messages, emails, whatever. If you happen to catch this later on YouTube, because we upload it right after the show is done, we upload it so you can see it, and so we can go back and look at it and laugh and because see, we did say that last week. And it just kind of is a nice historical record of things that are going on, because we typically will show pictures and video of things going on, and the internet is forever, so so we always appreciate interacting with you on the show.
Yeah.
If you have any questions or comments, we invite them, and via the many ways that we showed you in our Administrivia. And until then, we will see you next week on another exciting, fun-filled episode of Two Guys Who Dive. See ya.